Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our OneAquaHealth Webinar, Citizen Science in Environmental Observation and Health Research. My name is Valentina Tageo. I'm the founder and main partner of WiseAngle, and I will be your moderator for today's session. And we are really glad to have you join us online today for this webinar, and we wish it will be filled with insightful presentations and discussion. This is actually the first cross-project webinar that we arrange in OneAquaHealth, and this is done in the frame of the activities of exploitation, synergy building, and collaboration with similar like-minded projects that the European Commission and the Horizon Europe program especially warmly encourage us to undertake, and we have the pleasure at WiseAngle to lead in the OneAquaHealth Consortium. These activities, as many of you may know, are mainly meant to prepare the ground for a successful uptake of the project's results, but especially, and this is the most important reason for us to be together today, to break those silos that often exist between projects that are working on similar or complementary topics and establish a smooth and pleasant way for knowledge sharing. So before starting, let me just provide you with few housekeeping information. First of all, I wanted to let you know that this session will be entirely recorded, so we will publish the recording afterwards in the OneAquaHealth website, the Open Information Hub. As you might have noticed, all participants except speakers are muted by default just to guarantee the best possible quality of the audio, but please feel free to post your questions in the chat and I will be pleased to read them, and also in the question and answer time that we will have after each of the two blocks of the webinar. Just raise your hand if you would like to speak, and we will be very delighted to give you the floor. Thank you, Alexander. Next, before leaving the floor to our speakers, I just wanted to say a few words about the rationale of today's webinar and the agenda, the program that we prepared for you today. First, why citizen science? Well, most of you already know quite well that citizen science is playing an increasingly important role in bridging the gap between professional scientists and the general public. And it has really become a predominant approach in participatory research for every scientist that is committed to engage individuals in their experiments and studies, and also help address complex environmental, health, and societal issues, such as the ones that all the projects invited today are contributing to address. So we have arranged our webinar in two main blocks that are related to two key topics, let's say. In the first block, we will try to delve into different citizen science approaches that are being employed in three Horizon Europe running projects. One is our OneAquaHealth project, and we will have as project representative today, of course, our project coordinator, Professor Maria Feio from the University of Coimbra, and Harm Hopdenacker from Shine to Europe, who is working as project manager and is also the responsible work package leader for the citizen science activities in OneAquaHealth. I forgot to say apologies in advance for misspelling names and surnames. I didn't exercise enough, so please accept my apologies. Next, we will hear from Balint Pernaker from the University of Pécs in Hungary, and he will present on the driver project. And third, from Elisa Mora from Spain, that will introduce us to the citizen science approach utilized in the E4 warning project. Elisa is working at the Blanes Center for Advanced Studies, that is part of the Spanish Higher Council of Scientific Investigation. And this will conclude our first block. So, of course, any interesting comment or question that you would like to pose in the chat or by raising your hand will be more than welcome. After that, we will deep dive into the more technological aspects of our webinar today, because we obviously are experiencing that several citizen science projects are making use of mobile application to foster engagement and participation of citizens in their studies. And this is the reason why we want to discuss more in depth the challenges and solutions adopted in the design of this application and the implementation of the application themselves, and also the promotion, how to make them appealing for the citizens. So we will hear about a specific application for citizen side developed within another Horizon project, which is the Pharaon project by Pedro Resende. And then we will also listen an interesting presentation from Elizabeth Marchante from the University of Coimbra again about the success factors of the development of the Invasoras Hub that was meant to create an information and citizen science platform to study the presence and the consequences, let's say, of the presence of invasive plants in the Portuguese environment. So, this is all from my side for the moment, and I will be pleased to leave the floor to our coordinator, Maria, for the first presentation.
You can already go to the third slide. So our project, the full name is Protecting Urban Streams to Promote OneAquaHealth. I already don't know the exact name. Okay. As I was saying, we are spread all over Europe, and we have also teams working in veterinary, in social sciences, in humanities and arts, informatic engineers, because our topic, the topic that we apply to, is environmental observation solutions contributing to meeting One Health challenges. So we are dealing with One Health, but also specifically to different types of environmental observations. Like, for example, from Earth, from ground observations, the ones we do usually in ecosystems, in the rivers, but also to satellite observations. Alex? Alex, can you change the slide, please?
I didn't.
Okay, okay. Thank you. In OneAquaHealth, we assume that the health of the freshwater ecosystems and human health and well-being in urban contexts are highly interconnected. We want to demonstrate that, because this is something that we can say theoretically, but it was never, I can say that it was never demonstrated. We assume also that when we improve the ecosystems, we'll improve also the human health and the animals and plants' health. Alex, please. Alex, are you changing?
And move to the next slide. Maybe there's a slow delay.
Okay. Okay. On the other hand, when these ecosystems are degraded, so the freshwater ecosystems, especially the small urban streams, which are those that are the focus of this project, when they are degraded, and they are often degraded by urbanization, we will lose many services, and they will be also a source of several types of diseases and lack of well-being that affect humans and also animals and plants. So there are a series of waterborne and vector-borne diseases that come from the water. They affect animals, for example, the fish or other animals or amphibians that live in the water, but they can also reach humans. We'll also look at the influence of climate change in this process. So how will climate change affect this link between human health and the health of the freshwater ecosystems? Next slide, please. So we are focused not only on physical health, but also on well-being, so mental health and well-being. So on the other hand, if we have these ecosystems, if they are healthy, they will provide a lot of important ecosystem services like a better air, water and soil quality, better climate or climate regulation, flood mitigation, areas for improving physical and mental health, and they will constitute a barrier against the emergence and spread of these diseases. Next. So the key objectives of OneAquaHealth are first to identify the level of integrity of urban aquatic ecosystems. We are sampling, actually collecting actual data, determining also adequate early warning indicators to assess the ecosystem health and predict the risks for human health from the degradation of the ecosystem health. Integrate these in a live Earth observation system and develop tools that allow us to that will contribute to this early warning system, and also engage stakeholders, different levels of the society, to raise their awareness for the importance of preserving the urban streams and acting upon their degradation. Next. So we'll develop, or we are developing already, several tools. So first here, we are working on 5 research cities: Benevento in Italy, Coimbra in Portugal, Ghent in Belgium, Oslo in Norway, and Toulouse in France, where we are actually collecting new data. So we are covering here different climatic areas, also different cultural backgrounds and levels, different levels of restoration or rehabilitation of urban streams, which is also very important for us. And in each city, we'll have 20 sampling sites, so 20 streams where we work to collect a lot of data. Alex? So we are sampling biological indicators, the ones that are usually used to assess the ecological quality of rivers, like the invertebrates, the fish, the diatoms, and aquatic plants. But we are also investigating the microbiomes. We are also working with amphibians, with birds, so already the potential predators of some invertebrates like mosquitoes that are one of the vectors that we study. Also, we are also investigating the presence of ticks as vectors of also of virus and bacteria in the riparian areas. And we are also collecting human health data from these 100 sampling sites. Next. As I was saying, one of our main aims is also to develop an environmental surveillance system that is available in our hub, OneAquaHealth Open Information Hub, where all these tools will be integrated. So we'll do predictive models to predict risks for human health from the degradation of streams. We'll have a decision support system, city dashboards with information on how the key indicators are varying, and also we'll have information arriving from citizen science application that is being developed in OneAquaHealth. This citizen science app is not focused on biodiversity, but on physical aspects like hydromorphological aspects of streams. Next. So I'm not going to develop more about the project and each of these apps, as today the focus is citizen science. Just to let you know that we have all the information on our hub, and also we have different channels like Facebook, Twitter, or X, and Instagram and LinkedIn, right? Okay, that's it. I'm eager to hear all of you.
Great. So my name is and I'm presenting the citizen science work that we do in this project. It's mostly being developed by my colleagues Angela, Ines, and Karina. So I'm going to very quickly wrap up the what are the outcomes of OneAquaHealth and where do we specifically need input from the various stakeholders, and then go through the citizen science research framework, which is a 6-step approach, and I'll try to keep it short. So in this picture, you see from a kind of a technical perspective the outcomes of OneAquaHealth, where you see the environment that's being monitored through indicators that will be used to power predictive models. There's a live Earth observation system and a citizen science app that provide data input to a data storage and decision support system that in turn power an open information hub to provide information to citizens, and city dashboards that provide information to policymakers and local government that hopefully will use this information to make new policy that will improve the environment. So basically, OneAquaHealth is building tools to observe the environment. The output is used to provide relevant feedback to policymakers, allowing them to make better policy decisions. And the ultimate aim is to improve the environment and subsequently the health of citizens. So this is just to give an overview of, well, if these are the outcomes, where and why is stakeholder input needed? And in no particular order, we've come up with some questions that we would have for stakeholders to be answered. So, for example, what should the Open Information Hub show, and can citizens use this Open Information Hub well? The same for the city dashboards. What should it show, and can policymakers use this? At the bottom of the screen, are we missing any indicators? Are the predictive models any good? Which decisions should be supported, and do the outcomes of the decision support system actually make sense? What do citizens actually want to report using the citizen science app, and can they use the application? Finally, how can we support basically all of this moving forward once the project is over? These are all points where we need input from stakeholders, and I'll quickly go through the process that we've put in place of making sure that we get the right information. This is a 6-phase approach, and we start with kind of a phase 0, kind of a preparation, and that's to establish a collaborative ecosystem in all of these 5 different research sites. And that's the thing that we call local alliances. And a local alliances is basically a group of stakeholders that are somehow involved in the adoption of OneAquaHealth in a specific region. And this group of stakeholders is based on the quintuple helix approach. So they include representatives from academia, industry, government, civil society, and the environment itself. And instead of engaging with each stakeholder individually, local alliances allow us to bring everyone together in the room and to allow the identification, discussion of potential conflicts of interest between those stakeholders. So for each of the different organization types, there are various reasons why it's beneficial for them to help us. And I won't go into detail, but it's just to entice organizations to join our local alliances. So these local alliances are formed by and led by the regional OneAquaHealth lead partner. So each of the 5 research site has a consortium member that's the main responsible for the research site, and it's leading the local alliance there. And they form the crucial connections to the local citizens as well. And in the end, they are meant to survive the end of the project to make sure that the solutions that we're developing in OneAquaHealth are being maintained beyond the life of the project. So the first phase of our citizen science research framework or the second phase, depending on how you want to see it, is basically participatory design. And our partner WISE has been working on this, and it's basically to gather local views, opinions, and experience of citizens that will ultimately contribute to defining the research process itself. So a focus group on citizens' need was conducted in each of the 5 research sites to identify topics that citizens are concerned about with respect to the environment, particularly concerning these local urban aquatic ecosystems. The results of this focus group are currently being compiled and reported, but it will serve as input for the rest of the framework. So the second phase is basically about the recruitment and training. So we have this initial group of citizens that includes also those participants that participated in the focus group, and they will be involved in defining the research process itself. I'll talk a bit about that in the next phase. But after that, we need to recruit a larger set of citizen scientists, and they may be reached through various channels like the local alliances that are formed in each region, but also local public platforms, open calls to the community, the researchers' social networks, because we're targeting citizens in a very broad sense. As long as they have some connection to an urban aquatic ecosystem, then they're welcome to join, and also to snowball sampling. So recruited citizens may recruit their friends and family. In the training part, we will train each of these citizen scientists on the topic. So we want to explain the overall objectives of the OneAquaHealth project in lay terms. We want to discuss the indicators that are to be collected and tested that can be specific to each of the research sites. And we also want to teach how to conduct these environmental observations, so how to use the citizen science app and report valuable information for us. So which data will exactly be collected and how it will be reported is also part of the training procedure. And then finally, we do something called train the trainer. So we want to train citizens to train other citizens to do the same things, basically. So then we have this development phase, and that's really about citizens helping us to co-design the specifics of the study that we are doing in each of the research sites. So the initial research protocol is designed by the consortium, that's us, and they're based on the outcomes of the participatory design phase, or the focus group that was held by WISE, or it was held in each of the research sites, but it's set up and coordinated by WISE. And in the development phase, citizens basically provide feedback to fine-tune this designed research protocol. So is the right data being collected to support local policy making? Some specific research sites might have specific issues that are important for them. We want to make sure that we're collecting the right data to support that. Are the training procedures clear and are they easy to follow? Are the tools adequate and easy to use? So the citizen science app. And is the recruitment strategy optimal for the local context? So with that kind of iteration, we are fine-tuning the research plan. And then it's time for the second to last phase, which is actually the important phase, the citizen science in action. Basically, in this phase, the project becomes operational in the research sites, and the citizen scientists start making environmental observations and to test also the citizen science app that we hopefully can improve over time. Environment-related data and human health-related data are fed into the OneAquaHealth system that I've showed before, driving the decision support systems and ultimately the open information hub and the dashboards. And during this phase, we also want to try and apply some additional gamification strategies to basically enhance the engagement of citizen scientists, to encourage the recruitment of additional participants. Finally, about the communication and knowledge sharing, the citizens will also be involved in sharing and delivering the research results to policymakers and society, for example, to the organization of events at university, schools, or local assemblies, etc. And we will also have regular monitoring events by the project partners to keep the interest and engage new participants while the citizen science activities are in action, let's say. And finally, an interesting element of this project is that we will basically co-create with citizens a theater play. theater play that will showcase the results of the project and the citizen science work that will be presented in unconventional venues in Portugal near urban streams. And that's hopefully, in a nutshell, our citizen science approach. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Harm. I think we can leave any question until the end of the free presentation, so we can hear now from the driver projects next in our agenda.
So, yeah, my name is Bani Beneker, and I'm from the Department of Hydrobiology, University of Pécs, Hungary. And what I will talk about is mostly the dry rivers citizen science application, which is a part of the driver project, and also how we try to engage citizens to participate and how our data help management and science. So first of all, just very quickly about the project itself. It is an EU Horizon 2020 project, which aims to collect, analyze, model data from drying river networks from all around the world, basically Europe and South America. And the help of that data, we would like to create adaptive management strategies for these types of rivers, so intermittent rivers. And why does the dry rivers application is needed, or why was it needed? So the problem is not really the drying of streams. We know that intermittent streams are the most prevalent types of rivers in the world. And in some parts of the world, for example, in the Mediterranean, it has always been the case that rivers are drying. But in some parts of the world, it is a new phenomenon. For example, in Hungary too. And the problem here is just from a Hungarian example. We have around 10,000 registered river sections in the country, but only 10% of that is monitored regularly, because these are the bigger rivers catchments. And the rest, almost 9,000 river segments, which are mostly the first, second, the small headwater streams, we don't know much about those. And these are the ones, because of their size, which could be affected by drying. So here comes dry rivers application from driver, which aims to enable citizens to collect information about drying events. And with this data, with this information, we hope to have better mapping of the drying rivers, and also to improve the scientific predictions in the future about these intermittent rivers with the help of citizens. So how we wanted to citizens to engage in dry rivers is basically first with the mobile application, and we try to make this as quick and easy to use as possible. So it is working offline. It enables people to record the data on the field, even if there's no internet connection or even GPS connection. So the main aim of this application is to record data on the field. And there's the other phase, how we like to call this in dry rivers, the web application, which is there for filtering, visualization, editing, downloading the data. You can retrieve statistics and manage the profiles here. And these things are all available in the mobile application too, but you have to have internet connection for those things. But it is developed to work perfectly on a browser. And the other +1 phases are the supporting websites with guides, manuals, and tutorials. And also we created local Facebook pages, for example, the Hungarian users. So in local language, we share informations and news and all kind of things about the challenges and everything that is related to drivers, dryings on dry rivers. So as I mentioned, the mobile application is very easy to use. For an experienced user, it takes only 20 seconds to record the data. So what you need to do for that is you add a new spot record, you with the GPS get your location, choose the hydrological condition, name the spot, and you take a photo and you can save it. And later when you have internet connection, you can upload the observations, your observations. And when you upload it, you can check your uploaded things in the real-time map on the web application. And you can check all of the records on the web applications. You can also add new spots and records here in the web application, and you can edit your previously recorded data. You can download all the data if you want, or for example, your organization's data if you're part of an organization. You can filter for the data. We call this the time machine. And also you can retrieve some statistics about the spots and records. And also you can get some tutorials here also. Yeah, and the part which was introduced a little bit later was the user profile in the web application, where you can check all the notifications, the messages from the teams, the push-up notifications, and also your own user profile, your badges. So we introduced the gamification part into the drivers also. You can get points for recording observations, and for these points you can level up. Also you can get badges for recording some amount of data or participating in challenges like record the most dry records on the International Drought Day, and you will award it with a lot of points and a new badge. Right now we have more than 2,300 users registered to drivers with almost 5,000 spots and a lot of records and images. As you can see, most of it is from Hungary, Czech Republic, and France. And from that 2,300 users, around 1,500 apps are still active worldwide on Android and also on iOS. And what we can see here on this graph is how the number of active apps installed on phones changed through the time, and what kind of actions have to increase this. So what we can see here is that the things that help the most are especially TV and radio spots, news, interviews in nationwide TVs and radios. For example, the press conference and the initial global release with online articles, it helped a little bit. But what was the first peak is a national TV news in Hungary, only 3 minutes, resulted in more than 100 users a single day. Also in Czech Republic, TV promotion, and for example in France, only very short radio interviews resulted in more than 400 users. Yeah. About the engagement, we see that around 50% of the users leave within 1 year, but the other half remain, and from that around 10% stays active, and they continuously reporting and recording data. What we think helps to increase the user engagement was, well, first the immediate feedback, so you can check your uploaded data in the web application after uploading them. The full open access thing, so everything can be downloaded, all the data can be used. And also the later introduced push notifications in the app and the gamification. What doesn't really help is the main drawback in our case is that it is just a small part of these drivers. So there was no dedicated budget or manpower for marketing, advertisement, managing these. So every kind of promotion was done by volunteering. So that's why these 3 countries had the most users, because there was local actions in France, Hungary, and Czech Republic. Based on some preliminary results about user engagement, we can see that, yeah, when gamification was introduced, a lot more users stayed with us, so they had their phone or the applications on their phone, more of them, and also they stayed active for a longer period of time after the gamification was introduced. So it helped a lot, you see. And how crowdsourced data from drivers help science and management. There was an article published in Bioscience by the lead of Amelie Truchy, and she's also credited for drivers received an honorary mention prize, the European Union Prize for Citizen Science. Yeah, so from this article, there are 3 case studies in which we can see how drivers help science and management. The first one is, for example, public authorities. The public authority in France, which is managing the Rhine river, they're using the drivers app to monitor the level of the river, the water, instead of in situ sensor, which can be destroyed or stolen, and they are expensive. So it can help management. The other thing, it helps to map intermittent rivers. Also, so newly defined streams pop up on the map quickly because of the crowdsourced data, and these can supplement the data from gauging stations, and also sometimes it can complement or contradict the hydrological models about river dryings. And the third case study was basically about models too. So when the data from dry rivers or crowdsourced data was implemented in the training of the models, the hydrological models, it increased the performance of these models. So they helped the models to become more better. And I don't want to talk about that too much, but you should focus on the white parts of the bars. Even that crowdsourced data was the least amount of data, provided the least amount of data. It covers a higher length in kilometers of the river sections, and also it provides the most amount of data about dry states or dryings. That's how it creates more accurate hydrological models, or can help to create more accurate hydrological models. And basically that's what I wanted to talk about, and thank you very much for your kind attention.
Okay, well, thank you for inviting me to be here today. My name is Elisa Mora, and I'm the head of communication at Mosquito Alert at CEAC, and I work with Frederic Bartumeus, who is the director of the Warning and coordinator of the project. I'm trying to, okay. So, Warning project stands for Eco-Epidemiological Intelligence for Early Warning and Response to Mosquito-borne disease risk in endemic and emerging settings. And as all of you should be aware of, mosquito-borne diseases are emerging. Those days, dengue, Zika, chikungunya, and West Nile fever are emerging due to human mobility and climate change. And the burden of these diseases is high in tropical and subtropical areas, but since 2010, they are increasing also in temperate areas such as Europe. So to address this complexity, the E4Warning Consortium was created. And this consortium was founded by the European Commission under the same topic that OneAquaHealth. And the essence of this topic lies in enhancing the synergy between health data and environmental monitoring. So in this case, E4Warning represents an interdisciplinary approach, bringing together the expertise from different fields, including entomology, movement ecology, epidemiology, earth observation science, sociodemography, and citizen science expertise, which is our focus today. With the main goal to develop an early warning system to notify authorities about health risk in the line of the One Health approach. So So what we are doing now, we are operating at different scales from local to continental, but today I'm going to zoom in the local work that we are doing. Here you can see in the map, we have 4 locations in Spain, Greece, Germany, in Switzerland, in which ones we are trying to calibrate and validate novel monitoring tools at local scale by combining different sources of data, including traditional surveillance for the abundance of mosquitoes, smart trap surveillance to obtain real-time data, and the use of citizen science of mosquito alert for invasive species monitoring. And why use citizen science? Because vigilant is really time-consuming and really expensive. So imagine a world where every single citizen can be a sensor. So using the ubiquity of smartphones and the fact that you don't need to go for mosquitoes, that mosquitoes go to the humans, it's a way to, on the first side, encourage individuals to collect information on mosquitoes and act as the sensors, and at the same time raise awareness about mosquitoes and arboviruses. So this is the mosquito alert app where we do the data collection, and as you can see, this is the screenshot. We ask for 5 mosquito species to report bites and breeding sites. Also, we had campaign active to collect samples, and we have a notification system, and we have the yellow mark is for a gamification system that we have too. And one concern that maybe you are thinking is, okay, but how do you work with sample bias? Because maybe we have a lot of notifications of mosquitoes, but it's only one person, or there are a lot of persons, that this sample bias needs to be corrected. So we implemented a background tracking system to estimate this sampling method in a given area at a time, and to model this. And this you can see this in the public map that I'm going to speak about later. We ask for the location 5 times a day, so we can model that and correct the sample bias for all the data. Again, the gamification system, now Mosquito Alert is in 24 languages. So from here, I would like to kindly invite you to download it and help us to report. And in these 2 screenshots, you can see, for example, how we ask the people to report bites or report the mosquito. And how this works. For example, a user sent us a picture, and now we have an artificial intelligence system we call IMA, Artificial Intelligence from Mosquito Alert, that recognizes the species of mosquito at the first time and send a notification to the users with a probability. Later, this picture is sent to our digital laboratory, where it's a European network of digital entomology of experts who confirm the diagnosis. And I said at the beginning that we were trying to do an early warning system. So how this works? As you can see in the slide, we received the report, and then IMA uses an AI image classifier, compares this image with the species distribution database, and if it's the first reported case, then sends a warning email to the super expert and the national supervisors that check that the diagnosis is correct and speak to the local authorities. And once all the species are confirmed and diagnosed, they appear in the public map, where you can interact with it and check different things. For example, you can check the citizen science observation and also download the data. And also you can check the models considering the background tracking. And these are here some participation numbers that we have during the history of the project. We have more than 5,000 users that sent already more than 86,000 images of adult mosquitoes and almost 50,000 bites. But how are we getting to those numbers, because we think in mosquito alert as a scientific communication tool. As my colleague explained before, we need to attract and to retain the users. And for this, we use first to attract new users, the public channels. We have social media, Twitter, well, now X and Instagram. We have our website with a blog, and we have the app and the mosquito alert public map. But also we have private channels to retain the users. We have a newsletter, and we have the app notification system, where we send, first of all, the notifications of IMA with the score of identification. But also we can have a communication with the user, because I have to say that we don't know anything about the user. Privacy is always maintained, but we can communicate with them and send different kind of message. For example, we can send surveys, or we can send recommendations for the summer season, or ask for co-op. About users, we have to play communication actions at different levels, and I would like to expose a success case. And it was like last summer, last season, mosquito season. We launched a campaign with the Ministry of Health, because citizen science was included in the public health sectors program. And I don't know if you know who is this man who is here, but it's Fernando Simon, was the man in charge of the COVID-19 management. So it was a respected, like a health influencer. So it gives us a lot of credibility, because we include some statements from him boosting the citizen science as a tool. And you will see the results were really amazing. So from one day to another, we increased in almost more than 10,000 users. You can see here in this graph the number of users in thousands. So the day that we launched, you can see here, the press release with the Ministry of Health, we had a huge surge. Later, 2 days later, we sent a press release of the new map, the one I showed previously. And this created an atmosphere where journalists had mosquito alert in mind. So our mosquito plague arrived in Spain. So this made that journalists have already us in mind. So we request a lot of, we answered a lot of press requests about mosquitoes. And all this huge impact in press, I have to say that more than 200 impacts in less than a month, had really positive results, were positive, because thanks to this huge campaign, mosquito alert detected the first albopictus in Galicia. And then we have a collaboration with the municipality government, and they begin to launch press release to inviting to the people to use mosquito alert to monitor the invasion of the mosquito. And you can see here the clear correlation between all the press release that Xunta de Galicia launched and the surge in the downloads. Here you can see the effects of the sustained communication on the participation during the mosquito season months, with temporal but also with a special coverage. And I don't know what's happening, sorry. And these are the results of this campaign. We detected the tiger mosquito in 96 new municipalities, which is quite a lot. In red, you can see the new municipalities in 2023, and in blue, the already known municipalities from 2004-2022. But having a look at this map, you cannot see really the contributions that Mosquito Alert made since the beginning of the project. And that's what I would like to show you, this map. You can see in the video the detections of Aedes albopictus. And in this map, you can see in red the municipalities we found only using Mosquito Alert. In blue, the municipalities detected only using traditional surveillance, and in yellow, the combination of both, that the new municipalities detected by mosquito alert and also by traditional surveillance. So the conclusion is that citizens detect the species far from the expression front. And this already has been proven scientifically with a lot of papers, but I would like to show you this because thanks to a user of mosquito alert, it was detected the first confirmation of Aedes japonicus at Southern Europe in 2018. That's all from my side. If you have doubts or if you want, we can speak later, but anything you would like to add or comment, I also left here you my email for just you to have it in case you would like to speak later. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Elisa, and thank you very much also to our previous speaker. I will leave maybe a few minutes for any question that our audience might have to OneAquaHealth driver and the e4warning representatives. For sure, free complementary approaches with several similarities. If there's no question, I can, I will also, yes, there's one from Maria. Yes, please, Maria.
Hi again. Thank you for the very nice presentations. They are surely very useful for us that we are developing also an application, and you gave us very focused information and useful information. So regarding the dry rivers, so it was very well in both cases. It was very interesting to see the result after the news came out in the TV and also social media. That's very important. And just one question for both cases: how long did it take to develop the apps, to develop and make them available for the users? Well, I understand that the mosquito alert is still being improved, right? But to have a product that can be used, how long did it take?
So, yeah, if I can go first. For the drivers, the project itself started in late 2020. And if I remember correctly, the first version on Android, which was available on Android, came out in 2021 September. Yeah, but before it, there was a beta version and a lot of testing was done. Also, the French colleagues from the Ain River, they acted as beta testers. So it took at least 1 year, I think, about 1 year to provide the first version, and around 1 year more to develop all the other smaller aspects and the gamification and things like that.
Okay, thank you. And Elisa, you wanna?
In fact, at the mosquito alert, it was not the real name at the beginning because it started at almost 10 years ago as a local pilot in Girona province, and it was called like Catch the Tiger because it was only focused in album pictures. And I think well, I was not there, but Frederic, Aitana, and John Palmer started in 2013, and they launched Catch the Tiger in 2014. But later, they tried to went more global and include more species in 2015. More or less, I think a year or year and a half, maybe. I agree with Valent, more or less.
Okay. Okay, what I see is that to get a very useful and interesting version, we need time. We need to keep investing in that. Just one more quick question regarding the mosquito alert. So I see that you use AI to verify the names of. So people they choose the name of the mosquito. They choose the species and then you verify.
Okay. Well,
when
there
you
is
take with the picture.
Yeah, there is this option that when you try to upload a picture of a mosquito, you are asked if you see one line in the thorax or more than one or not. If they don't understand, it's not important because the artificial intelligence search for the image, and then with a percentage of accuracy sends a feedback in 5 minutes. But this does not appear in the public map until the community of experts confirms the diagnosis. Every picture is looked by 3 experts and they need to agree.
Okay. Yeah, I
So-
was very surprised with the presence of the Aedes albopictus in Galicia.
Yeah.
You checked that? It was checked, verified.
Yeah, it was checked, and in fact, it was like a really, really nice collaboration because the user of mosquito alert detected the 6th of August of last year. We received the early warning system of IMA. Then the same afternoon, we contact with the Regavide, which is the network of entomologists who is doing the vigilance. And next day, they were on the field trying to verify them. And in 3 days, there was the press release together with the local government of Galicia. And we communicate to the public that the presence of Aedes albopictus was confirmed there. So this was a really, really nice example that institutions, academia, and citizens can work together to monitor mosquitoes.
That's great. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Maria, for your question and also our speakers. I might have also another comment for you guys, if you don't mind. Valint especially has mentioned this about the potential sustainability challenges of these experiments. It's something that I think in all these projects is a common topic. Citizen science is just a part or a perspective or an angle of broader complex research projects, so not necessarily highly resourced as probably we would wish, because of course the projects are covering several other activities and domains. So did you have any kind of experience already in exploring potential sustainability path after the project's end for these tools, which of course are already providing exciting results within the frame of the projects, but would probably even be more exciting if could be scaled after their end, for instance, as Elisa was saying, through the collaboration with institutions?
So, so the question is that, do we have any plans after the project ends, how to...
Or any collaboration with environmental agencies or municipalities that you can think and can foster this afterwards?
Yeah, so what I'm aware of is that there will be resources to continue the citizen science applications run basically for I think at least 5 years. And also there are plans to make a global map of the drawings with other similar applications and results of applications. As for the others, I don't really have the answer. I'm sorry. But maybe we can discuss it in emails and I can search a little bit around.
That's fine, thank you. Elisa?
Nowadays, our sustainability is based mainly in research funds and we are exploring now trying to provide services like the early warning system, but mainly, and we're exploring this because the problem with the citizen science project is that you receive funds to create it, but then how do you maintain this big infrastructure? In the case of Mosquito Alert, we are a huge team. We have an educative program that it's in the whole Spain and also in the Netherlands. We have the entomologists, we have the IT members, the communication members, the scientific coordination of different projects. And this is a big team and needs funds to be maintained. No? And now mainly we are doing it with research funds. but we are exploring this possibility to provide services. And this is something that we are just exploring now after almost 10 years. So we still have to.
It's a long-term process, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to all of you. Yes, Maria, maybe last question, and then we will go for the second block, please.
Okay, just a quick question too for both of you. So in both cases, the apps are free for the users, and you don't have any sponsors, or so you don't have advertises, or you don't have any. Okay, do you think that facilitates the spread of the app, the use of the app, or if it was paid, for example, or if you had ads, would it be? Do you think it would be more difficult to convince people to use it?
Well, in our case, we have to think that mosquitoes are a nuisance. So I don't think that nobody wants to, well, we haven't thought about that, but at least, I don't know if this will work, that you have to pay to notify the mosquitoes, because a lot of, well, this is not like a naturalist interest app. No, it's not like if we were working on birds that everybody, oh, look at this beautiful bird that I found here. No, mosquitoes are a nuisance, and people what want to get rid of them. So I think that this complicates a little bit all this. I don't think, we haven't explored yet the possibility of sponsors of publicity. We don't know how this will work, because it's also a very sensitive aspect. And don't forget that regarding mosquitoes, there is a lot of, how to say it, negationist movement too, that says that Bill Gates is releasing mosquitoes to control us, and vaccines, and, you know, all this kind of negationist movement has an impact on communication. We are trying to study all them, but we need to be like really, really careful. So imagine if we include, I don't know, some kind of publicity or repellents. I don't know which effect should this have on our audience. But we can, thank you for the suggestion. Maybe we can just
just wanted to hear your opinion on that, because if apps are free, I think it's easier to use than if you want to maintain them, and if you need resources to do it, and that could be some options, but maybe they will difficult the process of communication or participation. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the interesting discussion. In the interest of time, I will go ahead to the second block. We actually have heard already quite a lot about apps, because obviously all the free projects, even if in different stages, are making a pivotal use of mobile applications for their engagement. So we will continue on this track with the next two presentations from Pedro Rosende first, about the app that they developed within the Pharaon project.
So I'm presenting Citizen. That it has been said before that is a product that derives from the Pharaon project. It was developed by the startup OWL, and also with the support of Marian University of Coimbra. In the Pharaon project, we were able to fine-tune the app, so develop almost the entire mobile app, thanks to the budget of the Pharaon. Also to test it with volunteers from the institution of Caritas Coimbra, so older citizens, which I will also show further ahead. So I would like to start by reinforcing that we started this as a company. So and in terms of sustainability, is all as you were all talking before as well. We have to address the sustainability issue, also the economical part of making this product sustainable. And we believe that, at least from our side, what we will pursue is the urban mobility, so the urban spaces, also buildings and properties, assets that are managed both by governments and by private developers, because by doing this, we will also be addressing the urban areas, which are responsible for 70% of global carbon emissions. And according to the Green Finance Report, we also know that it will be 3.5 trillion euros will be required to reach sustainable goals in real estate. So we know that there is a lot of money being put into programs like LIFE that has a special note for biodiversity, also footprint, and also all the issues regarding sustainability. I would also like to underline the new European Bauhaus, which is a very interesting program for us to apply to. And we are helping companies and governments to unlock these fundings because they will need these fundings now required to improve, monitor, and report the sustainability of their assets. And this is what we are focusing on right now. So this is our app functioning on the right side of the screen. We built this also as a human-centered technology, so we believe that we will supply to the in situ teams a tool for them to georeference photos and samples so that it is possible to monitor any location worldwide. And of course, we are also using geospatial data. We are experts in buildings and geospatial data, so we are providing that expertise also to help monitor, also to understand some macro and also territorial with this holistic view. The verification of carbon and sustainability, so we know that the footprint it's very important to show the before and after, so before the projects and after the improvements, risks as you're seeing in the screen, so the app functioning to georeference problems or risks that might happen in these project locations, and also leveraging our capability of as project designers. We want to prescribe nature-based solutions for carbon offset, and this can be done in the assets, so in the extensions, in the natural spaces, but also to better address the buildings and the pavements and the infrastructure, because depending on the option that we use in these spaces, we can have a much better contribution, a much better footprint. So this is a sample diagram of our methodology. And we also work in a circular way, so we believe this, especially with the monitoring issues that are being put into these projects, we believe that this has to be looked at in a circular way, starting with geospatial data and life cycle assessment. So geospatial data allows us to understand the holistic view, as I was mentioning before, and also the life cycle assessment allows us to understand the carbon that is embodied in the infrastructure and in the buildings, and the carbon that is being absorbed by the natural spaces. Then we can prescribe solutions with regenerative architecture and also nature-based solutions to offset the carbon. And then we can use our digital twins and also our mobile app to monitor, report, and verify, and to show with transparency the results of the projects, of the improved areas. And again, as you can see below, so we are talking geospatial data to understand the macro analysis of the territory, and the in situ photos and samples, which are the ground truth, that also can help us to calibrate results, to correlate the geospatial data and the remote sensing data with the ground truth. So we always put this also to underline our difference. Again, we are project designers by formation and also experience, and we are able to prescribe solutions to improve the footprint in these project locations, both in the building and infrastructure and also in the natural spaces. And we also believe that tackling in the urban areas, we will tackle where 70% of the carbon is produced. So this is also a much needed attention that we need to put into our cities. And now there's just a set of use cases, this mapping the regeneration of after the wildfire in Serra da Freita. This was a regeneration project by Movimento Gaio. This was the total extension of the fire. And then if we do a zoom in, for example, what we are showing here, so the gray areas were the burnt areas in this particular region where Movimento Gaio worked. And then afterwards, this is called false color. So as you can see, the slowly, with also the efforts of Movimento Gaia and also of course the nature restoration, natural restoration, we are seeing the gray becoming red. So it is the regeneration occurring. So mapping flood monitoring in Mondego River. Water quality, so turbidity and total suspended matter, and also chlorophyll A concentration, so algae blooms, this in Mumbai, India. Air quality again in Mumbai, India and Mexico City. And vegetation index in Senegal, so and this was made for the entire year of 2020. In terms of the traction in the Pharaon project, it was very important to test the app with both young citizens but also older citizens, and this was very interesting to see that this type of engagement makes people want to get out, so get out of their houses and to be in community. To be in these green and blue spaces, which is I believe the most important thing, is to create tools so that we are able to also to contribute as citizens and to the mapping and monitoring of these spaces, but also to substitute for the loneliness that most of the not only the older citizens but also younger citizens feel that when using apps like Facebook, Instagram. So this is a very collaborative app, and the protagonists are not people, but are the biodiversity species and the public spaces that need special attention. Again, the older citizens, also with Caritas Coimbra, so the caregivers and also the organizing people that also put us in this project. And our team, Maria, you know, and Sonia. So this is a multidisciplinary team capable of bringing the biodiversity expertise from the University of Coimbra experts, also from my side, Danielle, Giselle, Maria, so architects that bring this regenerative architecture approach, nature-based solution approach, and then Eduardo Abran and Diogo, also José, so more data-related profiles and also geospatial data that bring us to this comprehensive solution capable of monitoring, reporting, and verifying carbon and sustainability, but also to prescribe regenerative architecture and nature-based solutions for the carbon offset. So thank you very much.
So I'll start by thanking your invitation to speak a bit about invasoras.pt. It's a project that it's about invasive plants in Portugal, and it's not only the citizen science platform, but also a big part on raising awareness and information about these species. I'll start just with a brief contextualization. So invasive species are globally a huge threat. There was a very recent report from last year that evaluated all the information available about invasive species done by IPTES. And these species are, without any doubt, a big driver of biodiversity loss. They can be from all taxonomical groups, and they are a part of the species that are introduced to new places and that establish and spread, and with these they have negative impacts on nature, but also on people. The species around the world are being introduced everywhere, and there are nowadays more than 37,000 established alien species, and a part of these almost 10%, 3,500 are invasive, and these are the ones that have negative impacts on nature and on people. These numbers from the report are quite alarming. They are not new, but putting them together, it's quite alarming. And the species, invasive species, are connected to about 60% of global species extinctions around the world, either solely or alongside with other drivers that contribute also for the extinction of species. In economical terms, invasive species are also a huge burden. With these $400 billion were estimated in 2019 to be the annual costs, but the numbers are probably higher, as these estimations are not including all the impacts. And most of the impacts, around 85% of these, are negative impacts. Of course, many of these species were introduced because they had some purpose and they are used by humans, so they also have positive impacts, many of them. But a big part of the impacts are in fact negative and not positive, both for nature and for our quality of life. And for the management of these huge threat of biological invasions, there are three main steps. We need to prevent the species, and for this we definitely need to raise awareness. We need to early detect them and rapid response, as Elisa spoke in the mosquito alert. And when the species are already present, we need to control and contain them. And this is very clear in the European regulation and also at national level in the different countries. And if we want to be able to manage these biological invasions, citizens' involvement and know where the species are crucial for these steps. So citizen science can make up a huge contribution for the management of these species and to improve the management of these species. And it's not nothing. There are several benefits that Elisa also spoke a bit, but so the collection of observations is valuable for science, but also for the management of the species and for legislation implementation. While we raise awareness of invasive species and their impact, we are doing citizen science, so it's a two-way street, so to say. It will support the identification of invasive species and help people to learn to identify the species. In many projects have identification guides or some algorithm that helps to identify the species. And the help of citizens will increase the scale, not only the spatial scale of the data that we can collect, but also the temporal scale. So it's many benefits to include citizens in the management of invasive species. Many projects, and if we see in Europe, there is a tentative listing of the species, the projects with the invasive species and alien species in Europe in a few years ago. And we could see that there are many projects underway in Europe nowadays. They started in the beginning, most of them in the beginning of century, but there was a few others that started before. And these projects depend very much on the participation of the citizens. They are quite diverse, but the majority of them, they report the location of the species. And that's what invasoras.pt does. It is a platform that started in 2013, and we focus on invasive alien plants only, not in the other species. We include many information about the species and the educational materials, and we have a citizen science platform to collect the location of invasive plants. Our main goal is to raise awareness of biological invasions in general, not only plants, and then publicize the invasive plants and the involvement of the public in the mapping and control, and even in the dissemination of information. Initially, we had a dedicated web platform that included also Android and iOS app later on. And with this, we helped to detect and map the invasive plants in Portugal. But there was many challenges along the way, and to engage citizens and raise their awareness, the big first challenge was to help people identifying the species. Most people don't identify plants, and there is the term blindness, because people often they don't see the plants. To give them a name, it's even more difficult, and to separate the ones that are native or invasive, and to know how to identify, it's a huge challenge. So we start by producing materials that could help to identify the species, and we have the platform invasoras.pt, where we have fact sheets about the species with many pictures and information about the species, but we have also a practical guide printed, and that's also available online, where people can check the identification and clarify how to control the species. But that's not enough, and a website or a guide without publicity, it will stop. So we do a lot of activities with different publics, from training courses, workshops, talks, field actions, and with this we try to promote the materials that we produced, and to use them in a way that they can be effective and help people to identify and know where the species are. And we also use social networks, as everyone, to publicize the platform mainly, but also we do share information on how to recognize and record the species in the platform. The platform, this dedicated platform, worked until July 2023, so last year, and you can see here that the number of observations is quite variable. We have some peaks that were generally associated with some campaigns that we did when some species are flowering, or some species are more easy to detect and identify, or when we need information for specific projects that we advertise the species. And we could see that a big part of the observations that we received, over 80%, they were correct and were validated. And this shows that probably a big part of the users that we have in our app are people that are already aware of the species, that know how to identify many of them. The users are, most of the users are not very frequent users, so they use the app 1 or up to 10 times, and then they don't use it again. But we do have some users that are continuing to participate and keep producing new data. There is a big bias in the species that are recorded. So we have a big list of species in the dedicated app, and the species that were more recorded were generally species that are showy, have nice flowers, are easy to identify, are big species. And for small herbs and species not so easy to identify, the number of records were much lower. But it was very difficult to maintain the platform and to have resources, both human resources and financial resources, to maintain the platform. And so to these maintenance updates and validation of observations, we had to look for other possibilities that could help us when we don't have dedicated fundings for the platform. And so in October 2019, we developed, created a project in iNaturalist, or Biodiversity for All, the Portuguese network, that is called also Invasoras.pt, and start promoting this project along with the dedicated web while we still had it. And in last year, in July, we handed the dedicated platforms that we use for the recording of species, and start using only the project Invasoras.pt at iNaturalist. We maintain the other features of the platform Invasoras.pt, and so we still have lots of information, and we promote the platform, but the way to record the species started to be only on iNaturalist. And the numbers increased quite fast, and we promote this project in the same way as we used to do it when it was a dedicated platform. There are some disadvantages in pathing the project to a worldwide global platform. So we have less visibility, and there is less information on species. In our, we had lots of information for the species and many pictures, but there are also many advantages, and that's why we decided to move to this new form of recording. So we can register any species. In our dedicated platform, we had a list of species that were possible to choose, but it was not. It was possible to submit species under species X that people could submit, but there was a predefined list. This iNaturalist also includes an algorithm that helps to identify the species, and this is a good advantage because many people don't know to identify the species quite well. So it can reach people that are not so easy to find, that don't identify the species. It also includes a collaborative validation process, so it helps us in the process of validating the observations. We also help to validate, but we can rely on other people. There is the possibility of automatically downloading the records. We share our records with GBIF and with the European platform on invasive species, but this way it's possible to do it automatically. We have a greater reach because iNaturalist is already used by many people, and it's good to make use of platforms and apps that are already working instead of being always reinventing the wheel to do the same when the aim is the same, and we want to report the location of species, and iNaturalist does this very well. The maintenance is also guaranteed or more guaranteed, since this is an international platform that has its own maintenance, and we don't need to do it by ourselves. And it's good to have less dispersion of platforms. Of course, we need new platforms when there is specific aims that the platforms that exist don't do. But when it's something that it's already done by others, if we can use the same, it will be more easy to maintain the people and not to have so much dispersion. Recently in 2019, we started also a new project. It's not recording of invasive plants, but the recording of a biocontrol agent that we introduced in 2015, and that it's already quite dispersed along the country, and so we ask help to monitoring also this agent, and people are contributing a lot. We have a project in iNaturalist, but also a form in Epicolet 5, another platform that possible where we can create projects depending of things that we want to collect. So this is a more complete form with much more information, but that takes more time, so people sometimes don't have that time. But when people are available, and many often technicians and people that work in the nature conservation areas, or in technicians in municipalities, in the places where we release this agent, they often use this more complete form in EpicoLab 5. So after 11 years, we can see that we increased the early detection and mapping of invasive alien plants in Portugal. We don't have a feedback action to go and do something when we detect the species quite early. What we do is to communicate with the national authorities about those locations. The citizen science project also contributes to much greater awareness of invasive alien plants among the general public, but also other types of public that we work with. There is a strong involvement with different audiences, and quite often not only for the recording of the species and the citizen science platform, but for the control of the species. We do work with many entities that then use the citizen science project to record the species and be easier to make projects for the management and strategies for the management of the species. We have many observations initially in the dedicated apps and now in iNaturalist. They are open access as previous projects, and they are shared in GBIF and EASIN. And many of these locations have been used in scientific publications or for the management of different species and to help the stakeholders in the field. Citizen science is making an important contribution for science and management, and to a lower extent also to the implementation of legislation and this of biological invasion, but our project more in particular for invasive plants in Portugal. But it's not easy to keep going, and we did have dedicated funding in the beginning when we started in 2013 to build the platform and to build many of the materials. But nowadays, with increasing competition of many apps and many projects that involve the public, it's not easy to continue. So how do we do it? We have support from our mother institution, so to say, so the places where we work, but we don't have dedicated funds. What we have is we can use our time to keep promoting this platform and using it. But we are always looking for new funding, even in projects that are not dedicated to citizen science or to this kind of subject. We do try to have some of the tasks related to raising awareness and citizen science in a way that we can keep promoting the platform and the use of the data. We rely on engaged citizen scientists and volunteers, and although many of the users just use the platform a few times, we do have a fair share of fixed volunteers that keep introducing new data, and we have a nice group. We believe in the benefits of these collaborations and keeping the citizens involved, not only as a way of raising awareness, but for the data that they can collect and be with a greater reach, both spatially and temporally. It's a lot of fun, and we do like to do these projects and to keep collaborating and reaching the public. And we believe that it's part of our mission. So we are not up to give up and just don't do it when we don't have resources or when it's more difficult, because we do believe that for a better management of biological invasions in general, we need to engage the public and all the citizens. So we keep trying to keep the project. And that's it. Thank you. And if you have any questions, I'll be here.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. On my side, I think it was really inspiring to hear from both of you, and also this latest example of potential partnership with larger international platforms that you have experienced embedding your platform in the iNaturalist is quite an interesting one. I see Maria has a hand raised, and I think we can just get very few questions because we are already over our time. But thank you so much. It was really interesting so far. Maria, please.
Thank you, Pedro and Elizabeth, for being here and giving us some insights from your experience. Elizabeth, so this change to iNaturalist, you explained very well the pros and cons. So I understand that when you open the app iNaturalist, you can choose your app, which is inside the iNaturalist one, right?
If it's not a app inside the app, it's a project created inside iNaturalist. Yes.
Okay, so they had to create a new part of their system. It was adopting your system in the Invasoras app and integrating it in their iNaturalist.
iNaturalist
How
has
was it made in
projects.
terms of technology? It required some adaptation. How did you convince them? Was it easy or difficult?
No. Everyone can create projects in iNaturalist. You don't change. That's why when we need more information, like the example of the biocontrol project, we have the two options. iNaturalist that only allows you to record the place where you see the species. And it's a very simple, user-friendly platform. And when we want more information, we use EpiCollect, where we can make projects that we decide what we are asking. And we can have much more fields and information that we collect. For iNaturalist, we can only record the location and the identification and the photos of the species. But everyone can do that without any change in the platform. You just go there and you create your own project, and then you can promote it by yourself. And sometimes we have collaborations with Biodiversity for All. That's the Portuguese network for iNaturalist, and they promote our own projects, but they have lots of projects. Everyone can make projects in iNaturalist.
It was not really an integration of your app there. It was you created a project where you can get information related to what you wanted before.
I guess this is not possible for all the projects. This is possible for the projects that have a specific aim that is recording the location of the species. And that was what we were doing before in our app. So when we start our app in 2013, iNaturalist already existed, but it was not well known, and the Biodiversity for All, it was also in the beginning. So we produce and create a dedicated app. But after some time, because it's very difficult to maintain apps a long time and keep the maintenance and the upgrades, and we, after evaluating pros and cons, we decided to go to iNaturalist. And in fact, the way you create the projects in iNaturalist is you have many decisions, and there are some projects where you say that only the people that join your project will collect data for you. But some are, they can be open. So we just decide a list of species, and all the people that are collecting info for that species, they will be joined to our project. People don't need to know that they are contributing to our project. If the species are in our own project, they will collect from all the people that record the species. And so it has a much bigger reach, because people from everywhere that are collecting the info can participate without even knowing. But we do continue to promoting the app and people to collaborate and to join the project, because in that way you have more fixed collaborations that can be very useful to when you need to know something. That it's nice nowadays we know some of the people that contribute more, and we know that when we need help for some specific species or some information in particular, we can go there, and they are from different parts of the country, so it can be very useful.
Okay, thank you.
So thank you everyone. If there's no further questions, I would just like to thank you, all of you. I think it has been really interesting and inspiring. As I said, we will publish the recording for everyone in your teams or in your networks that couldn't attend. And I would really wish that we can stay in touch for further exchanges in the next months of our respective projects, because I think we have lots of learnings that we can still exchange further. So thank you very much. Sorry for the delay, but it was for a good purpose. It was a very nice discussion. So thank you for staying with us until now, and enjoy your lunch and the rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.